Woo! It's getting chilly out here in the Midwest. I think it's time to warm things up just in time for National Cinnamon Day. Now, of course, cinnamon has been around for thousands and thousands of years. In ancient China, it's used in so many recipes, both consuming and also medicinal, as well as in Ayurvedic practices in India. It's a very revered spice. Now, over in ancient Egypt, it was used in embalming ceremonies and different rituals, and was even considered more valuable than gold. Of course, cinnamon is still enjoyed up to this day. We still use it in some culinary dishes, lots of warming dishes and treats and sweets, warm beverages, and it's also made its way into different things like cleaning agents and medicine. Cinnamon has been used in a powder form. It's also used in a distilled form as an essential oil. Let's talk a little science. Cinnamon, one of its main chemical constituents, is cinnamaldehyde. It's actually over 60% of cinnamaldehyde, and this gives it that really cinnamon aroma, right? But it can also be an irritant if it's applied topically. So if you're going to apply cinnamon essential oil, true cinnamon essential oil topically, you're definitely going to want to dilute that. You also could combine it with any of the citrals, any of the components that have citral. So this is going to be your citrus oils, caraway seed, even dill. And those, the citral kind of offsets the cinnamaldehyde. And if you have equal proportions in any kind of blends that you're making, then the citrals are going to chill out the cinnamaldehydes and will make it okay for topical use. Did you know that cinnamon trees are actually a tropical evergreen? They can grow to be about 45 feet tall, and we can get oil from the cinnamon leaves. We can also get it from the cinnamon bark. So if you get it from actual bark, there's more cinnamaldehyde in that content. So the aroma is going to be a lot stronger. The cinnamon leaf oil has more eugenol content. So it might be a little bit more herbal in aroma. Some people kind of think it smells a little bit more like clove, but it's a little bit lighter. It has more of that clovey characteristic to it. And also, cinnamon leaf oil would be better application topically if you're going for a topical thing. That cinnamon bark has a much stronger punch to it because of that cinnamaldehyde. So it depends on why you want to use cinnamon oil. So if you're going for the antimicrobial properties, you're going to lean more towards cinnamon bark oil. This has more antimicrobial properties, antifungal, antiviral. It really packs a punch. Due to the active compounds in cinnamon bark essential oil, remember that cinnamaldehyde and the eugenol content, it actually makes cinnamon bark essential oil an amazing choice for supporting a healthy immune system. It also helps beautiful blood circulation, and there's even been studies how it helps with metabolic health. There's also studies that have proven and shown how cinnamon can be very, very effective with diabetes. And going into these colder seasons, if you ever get one of those little scratches in the back of your throat and it's like dun dun dun, you know what's coming. It's so helpful to grab for your warming spices and oils to be able to be like, psh, get up out of here, right? So cinnamon, even just a drop of cinnamon in some like warm tea with some honey is going to be really helpful to just get in there and psh, 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 knock that stuff out before it comes up. That's a scientific explanation, by the way. So speaking of that cold weather coming in, it's coming for us. If you're one of those people that is not a super fan of the permacloud and the cold weather and you just like to be warm and cozy, cinnamon bark oil is an amazing companion to have during those winter months. So if you were to take a drop in your hands and inhale it, the molecules from the cinnamon bark oil will go up and interact with the olfactory bulb, aka our smell sensor. And if it is a pure essential oil, it actually can interact with our limbic system. So this is like command central for our emotions. It can even get into the amygdala where our trauma is stored. That's a whole other topic that we can get into on another video. But for right now, if you wanted to have some uplifting, mood enhancing mojo going on, then cinnamon is a really great choice to bring in to your aromatherapy. So when you think about the purity of an essential oil, this is something that matters so much. So if you are looking to get yourself a nice, good cinnamon bark oil, I will give you a little quick tip. If it's really cheap, it's most likely not cinnamon bark oil. Most likely it's cinnamon leaf oil, or it could possibly be cassia. And cassia is very similar in aromatic profile, but has completely different chemical constituents than cinnamon bark oil. So you're going to get different properties and different results when you use different oil. When you're getting a quality essential oil, I'm going to just give you a little quick tip right now. Most of the things on the shelves are not actually an essential oil. If it's only a couple of dollars for a bottle of an essential oil, spoiler alert, it's most likely a fragrance, which is actually synthetically created in a lab. It takes a lot to create a cinnamon bark essential oil that is true and that is pure. We need to think about where this is coming from, where it was grown, who is growing it, the knowledge of the person that's growing it. If you harvest a plant a few days too early or a few days too late, the chemical constituents are completely different, even from a few different days. So to give that as an example, have you ever picked a berry fresh off the vine, right? So like if you pick a strawberry, you're out there in the berry patch, you're picking, you're like, oh, that one was too sour. Oh, I needed a couple of more days. Or like, oh, that one was a little squishy. I should have picked that one yesterday. You know what I'm talking about, right? So this is the same thing. So not only is it super important to pay attention to where it's being grown, because I could try to plant a frankincense tree right here in the Midwest. Is it going to grow? It might. Is it going to have the same properties as it does in the Middle East? Is it going to have the same climate, the same type of soil, the same type of sun exposure? Absolutely not. So I'm going to get a completely different chemical profile here than where I would where it actually grows natively and where it can thrive in its proper environment. So cinnamon bark really loves areas like Sri Lanka and Madagascar. Those are some of the top two places that have the most ideal growing conditions. There's also certain companies that work with farmers that have been caring and tending for those plants for generations. They know all the ins and outs of that plant. They love that plant, which if you know anything about plants, when you love your plants, woo, do they grow completely different than when they just sit in the corner and get watered every once in a while. Plant people, you know what I'm talking about. Personally, when it comes to purity, I've been the most impressed with doTERRA essential oils. They have an unprecedented way of going about their sourcing and their distillation methods, but it's all called co-impact sourcing. And I'll do a whole nother video on that because there is way too much to cover in that. But basically, there's much more behind the bottle than just producing an essential oil. One of my favorite people that teaches more about the emotional and energetic properties of essential oils is Desiree Delaunay, and she describes cinnamon oil as like a blast of energy. Cinnamon oil can be that blast of motivation to help spark that inner desire to get up and do the things that you really actually truly want to do. And so Desiree is actually an acupuncturist and an herbalist and an essential oil expert. And she has a beautiful video that describes more of the Chinese medicine perspective about the abilities of cinnamon. I definitely recommend watching her video. And so if you have those ideas that you just want to act on, but you've been feeling so sluggish and hibernating and cocoon, and you need that internal motivation, this is really important. Internal motivation is a completely different situation than external motivation. And so cinnamon helps to ignite that internal motivation. And so Jamila, who actually put these questions together that I have been providing information for, thank you Jamila, asked, one of the questions was about if cinnamon had like a message or a symbolic meaning, right? And so I think it has a lot to do just like with what Desiree said and what has been in practice for thousands and thousands of years. That cinnamon warming up the body helps to warm up the heart, helps to warm up the mind, helps to get things flowing, get things moving from the inside out, right? It helps us to really live our best lives. When we feel warm and cozy and nurtured and taken care of and we have that internal motivation, it's like you have that inner fire and you can really do what you're here to do. So I think that has something to do with part of its message. What do you think cinnamon says? Let me know. I appreciate your time and attention. I hope you've enjoyed this amateur appreciation presentation of cinnamon bark essential oil.